Hello, students. In this session, we are going to talk about something called electrochemical cell. Okay, that is, we are going to talk of converting the chemical energy into electrical energy or using electrical energy to conduct chemical reactions. Okay, so before we actually proceed towards actual electrochemical cells, it is important we should just brush up with the basics, that is electrode theory. You all must have studied this in your elementary classes. Okay, so what does electrode theory actually state? It says that the interface of metallic ions in solution with their associated metals results in an electric potential that is called the electrode potential. That is, whenever you dip a metallic ion in a solution which has its which has its ionic, metal dipped into its ionic solution. If you do that, there is always a potential developed at the electrode, and that is called electrode potential. Okay, this potential is a result basically of difference in the diffusion rate of ions into and out of the metal, and at some point of time an equilibrium is produced when with the formation of layer of charge at the interface. Okay, so when a semi-permeable membrane, it separates two liquid solutions with different concentration of specific ion, an electrode potential develops, and the potential that is developed is actually governed by the Nernst equation, where R, T, and F, these are all constants, and C1 and C2 are the concentrations of ions on the two sides of the membrane, and F1 and F2 are the activity coefficients of the ion of the two sides of the membrane. So this is just to brush up that this equation is actually which is going to be useful when we are going to calculate the potential that will be developed when we are using the electrochemical cells. Okay. Now, what is an electrochemical cell? An electrochemical cell is actually a device that can generate electrical energy from chemical reactions. Okay, or it can use electrical energy supplied to it to facilitate the chemical reaction taking place. So again, it is actually a type of transducer. Okay, and it is a device where chemical energy can be converted into electrical energy, and electrical energy can be used to generate chemical reactions. Okay, so now based on these two functions, we can segregate an electrochemical cell into two types. One is which generates electric current, that is called voltaic cell or the galvanic cell, and the other one is called electrolytic cell. So the electrochemical cells which are generating electric current from chemical reactions, they are called voltaic cells or they are or galvanic cell. Okay, and which actually use electrical energy to generate chemical reactions, they are called electrolytic cells. So we can bifurcate the electrochemical cell into two categories. Okay, a very common example for galvanic cell is the 1.5 volt cell that the consumers use. The batteries that you are using, they are galvanic cells. Okay, so galvanic cell can actually harness the electrical energy available from the electron transfer in a redox reaction to perform the useful electrical work. The key to gathering the electron flow is to separate the oxidation and reduction half reactions, connect them with a wire so that the electrons must flow through the wire. Okay, so actually a voltaic cell or a galvanic cell, it consists of two half cells, and that is connected with a salt bridge. Okay, each half cell, it consists of one metallic electrode dipped into an electrolyte. Now over here you can see that you have a porous disc in between, that is actually a semi-permeable kind of membrane. On one side you have zinc dipped into zinc sulfate, and another side you have copper dipped into copper sulfate. So you have basically metal electrodes dipped into metallic solutions, that is electrolyte. Now on both the sides half reaction will take place. Okay, because the metal ions, their diffusion rate, like I said, into the solution and out of the solution is different. Because of that, on both the sides you will see that some potential will be developed. Okay, and when I connect these two half cells with the help of a wire and I put a voltmeter in between, I can actually make a closed circuit in which this current will flow, and I can measure how much current is flowing. That will help me in of course concentration measurement, and that is also helping me in generating electric current actually. So that electric current I can use for some other application. This can actually be a source of power for you. Okay, so these two half cells, they are connected to a voltmeter and a switch externally with the help of a metallic wire. In some cases, both the electrodes, they are dipped in the same electrolyte, then the salt bridge is not required. Over here we have a porous disc, so again the salt bridge is not required because the uh, flow can be allowed through the porous disc. If this is not there, then we connect a salt bridge over here in between to complete the electrical circuit. So let us see that what are the constituents that make up a voltaic cell. We have an anode where oxidation occurs at this electrode. We have a cathode where reduction takes place. We have a salt bridge that contains electrolytes which are required to complete this circuit in the in a galvanic cell. Then we have two half cells, that is oxidation and reduction reactions are separated into two compartments. We need an external circuit that conducts the flow of electrons between the electrodes, and we need to have a load that is a part of the circuit that utilizes the electrons to flow to perform its functions. Okay. Now, in a galvanic cell, when the electrode is exposed to the electrolyte at the electrode-electrolyte interface, the atoms of the metal electrode have a tendency to generate ions in the electrolyte solution, leaving behind the electrons at the electrode. So the metal electrode becomes negatively charged. At the same time, the metal ions in the electrolyte solution also have a tendency to deposit on the metal electrodes. So that makes the electrode positively charged. Under the equilibrium condition, a charge separation is observed, and depending on the tendency of the two opposing reactions, the electrode might become positively or negatively charged. So the potential difference is developed between the electrode and an electrolyte. Okay, so we can see that whenever a metal electrode is being dipped in the electrolyte, where the electrolyte and electrode interface with each other, there is an opposing reaction takes place. Okay, from metal ions, they tend from metal they want to go into the electrolyte, and from electrolyte they want to go into the metal. So these are two opposite reactions taking place. So depending upon which reaction is more powerful, an equilibrium condition is obtained, and the electrode might become positively or negatively charged. So we can say that a potential difference is developed between the electrode and the electrolyte. This potential that is developed is called electrode potential. Okay, now out of the two electrodes, the electrode at which oxidation takes place is called anode, and the electrode at which reduction takes place is called cathode. The anode has a negative potential with respect to the solution, while the cathode has a positive potential with respect to the solution. So the potential difference develops between two electrodes of the galvanic cell. This potential difference is called cell potential. So at the electrode level, we have electrode potential. We have two electrodes constituting of two half cells, and these two electrode potentials together, when they create a net potential difference between the two electrodes, this is called cell potential. Okay, when no current is drawn from the galvanic cell, the cell potential is known as electromotive force of the galvanic cell. When the switch is set on, due to this potential difference, electrons flow from negative electrode to the positive electrode. Okay, so we have two cells, two half cells, or you can say two compartments. In both, we have one metal electrode and one electrode corresponding electrolyte is there. When you dip the metal electrode into the electrolyte, oxidation and reduction reactions are taking place. Metal ions from the electrode, they want to go to into the electrolyte, and from electrolyte, the ions, they want to turn into atoms and settle on the electrode. So these two opposing reactions actually give rise to positive as well as negative charge, and whichever is stronger will give a net potential to that particular electrode. So that difference in potential between the electrode and the electrolyte, that is called electrode potential. Okay, and when you connect these two half cells together along with with an electronic circuitry, so these two net electrode potentials, when they come together, they develop a net potential between these two electrodes, and that net potential difference is called the cell potential. So basically, the chemical reactions that are taking place at the electrode level is developing electrode potential, and when the two electrode potentials are connected together, it gives a cell potential, and that cell potential is nothing but a source of voltage. Okay, so if you connect some load in between the circuit and you switch it on, this particular source of power, this reaction, this galvanic cell will actually or behave like a source of voltage. The current will start flowing from negative electrode to positive electrode, and it starts behaving like a battery. So one of the very popular examples is Daniel's cell. The figure that you had seen in the first slide, that is copper on one side and zinc on the other. So Daniel's cell is an example of galvanic cell that converts chemical energy into electrical energy. In Daniel's cell, copper ions are reduced at the cathode and zinc ion is oxidized at the anode. So the reactions that are taking place is that copper is taking up electrodes, because changing into copper atoms, and zinc is actually losing electrodes and converting into zinc ions. So that is the reaction that takes place in the Daniel cell. So Daniel cell is one of the very popular examples of galvanic cell.